Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about intimacy with God and practical wisdom for effective living. So, if you're ready to own your 2025 like the boss that you are, stick around because today I'm going to be sharing how to create a life transforming system that would set you up for the year ahead. The year ahead makes it feel very far, but it's literally just like in a few weeks. So please stick around because I'm going to be showing you how to set up a system that will set you up for 2025. Now, what if I told you that the power to transform your life in 2025 lies not in your resolution, but in your daily actions? I know that sounds like simple, right? Well, here's the deal. Flipping the calendar doesn't magically change your life. The real transformation happens in the systems you build and the consistency you commit to every day. I'm very big on systems. So my question is, how will next year be different? How would you move from just dreaming about the life or the kind of year you want to have? Let me not say the life you want to have because that feels very big. But how will you move from dreaming about the kind of year you want to have to actually creating it? So we're going to be breaking it down today into 3 powerful steps. And I'm sure you already know by now that I always break down things into steps. Okay, so anyway, the first step is you need to imagine your ideal 2025. So first, let's take a trip into the future. Picture yourself in 2025. What does the best version of yourself look like? Now I want you to walk backwards and ask yourself, what habits, what routines, and what priorities would help me become that version of myself? This is something that you can do even right now while you're listening. So here's an example. If you dream of maybe being closer to God or improving your relationship with God in the next year, if you walk backwards, the routine you would need to commit to would be spending time with God daily, uninterrupted time in maybe prayer, worship, and Bible study. It could even be as simple as just being intentional about setting aside 30 minutes every single day at a time that you know that you are least likely to be interrupted. So that's an example, right? So you need to break your ideal 2025 into bite-sized actions. And then these small steps, they might feel like really ordinary, but over time, they would actually produce extraordinary results. Think of it like planting. Your daily routines are like the seeds you put into the ground. You can't have a fruitful seed you have not put in the ground. So look at those daily habits like planting. So just like the example I gave earlier, if you're thinking about being more intentional with your relationship with God, you don't want your devotional time to be haphazard. When you're rushing out and you're just, you're brushing and you're like, okay, and you're like, oh, you try to rush and do your morning prayers and things like that. So I think it just has to do with being intentional. So think of your ideal 2025, the version of yourself, and then walk backwards. What action do I need to take? It feels like a very simple exercise, trust me, but if you can commit to it, you would see the result that just being deliberate and being intentional about incorporating the actions that drive, the kind of person or the kind of year you want to have, by incorporating those actions into your daily routine, and you'll see how just being consistent with that will change. So I hope that is clear. So step 2 is build a system. Systems is what helps us to turn dreams or intentions into reality. And this one quote from James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits, that I love so much. It says that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This basically means that your life is ultimately a reflection of your daily routine, and you could also call your routine system. So your life is actually is like a reflection of the systems you have and the routines you have. The daily actions we talked about in number 1, you can take them and schedule them into your calendar. You can use tools like maybe time blocks in Google Calendar to keep you accountable. So let's try to do an example of what a schedule looks like using the example we used in number 1, right, which is trying to build an intentional time with God, closer to God. So you can say something like, okay, from 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. I'm going to spend time meditating and just worshiping God. You can say from 4:30 to 5 a.m. I would work on my personal project. So let's say you have something you want to build in the next year, or a vision you want to build in the next year. And then you can say that, okay, from 5 to 5:30 a.m. I would put aside time for my professional growth or to learn a skill. Now, let Google Calendar be your best friend in this coming year. Maybe I'm just being biased because I love Google Calendar, because you can just like see your entire day at once. So you should always prioritize booking people and events. I mean, you always prioritize booking people and events into your calendar. So in 2025, book yourself and your priority into your calendar. Turn it into a system. Guard that time so jealously, like a no-go area. And you will see how creating a system that practically align to your priorities, it will actually empower you to be a better version of yourself in all areas of your life. And I really highly recommend that you read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Or if you can't read Atomic Habits, you can actually watch a summarized version. If you don't have that time, you can watch a summarized version. I think there are summaries on YouTube, and it's taking like probably 15 minutes or less than that. In fact, I actually recommend that you watch it, if possible, once every month or once every week, all through 2025, because it helps to bring that consciousness of how your daily decisions, your daily actions are shaping your life. And it just helps to put you in that space where you're like, okay, I need to be consistent. Where you just know that you need to be consistent with the system that you've put in place. So remember, systems automate the directions of your life. It automates the direction of your life. Sorry, just like your words do. I think I've said this in a previous video. So when you start to treat your time blocks, like non-negotiable meetings with yourself, you'd find yourself moving closer to your goals, one day at a time. And this is so important as well, because it also helps you to sort of like know when to say no. So imagine if you had not previously prioritized your time, if you've not previously written down, if you've previously not blocked your calendar that, okay, I need to do this at a particular time. When somebody else called with something for you to do at that time, you just end up saying yes to a lot of things. But scheduling yourself, you schedule meetings, so scheduling your own priority. By the time somebody comes to meet you and probably wants something done within that time, and then you look at your calendar, it helps you to know what to say no to. Because sometimes we say yes to a lot of things thinking that we have time on our hands. But the reason why we have that illusion that we have so much time is because we've actually not created the time for the things that are priority to us. 3 is accountability and appraisals. So when you set up the systems in your life, and when you've envisioned your 2025, you've worked backwards, identify the actions and everything, the next thing is to create a system of accountability or appraisal. Now this is very important because yes, you've done your time blocks, you've scheduled your time, but things are not always fixed in stone. You might have different changes in your life, different changes in your current season, or different things can happen that will need you to maybe tweak your schedule a bit. That's why appraisals are very important. So for example, what an appraisal looks like is at the end of the week, you have a time where you sit down and you reflect on how did your week go. How did your week go? You reflect on how did your week go. Were you able to do the things that you identified, or the actions that you had identified that you wanted to do? And then if you see that, okay, for some things I wasn't able to get this particular thing done, you can then revisit it and ask yourself that, okay, why didn't I get this thing done? What can I do better? Is it that the timing I fixed for it is not working anymore? Or is there something I can do to change it? So that will help to continually make your schedule more realistic. And then accountability as well is having somebody that you can be accountable to. So if you don't have someone you can be accountable to, I believe that you can actually by yourself create a system of accountability, and you can do that by making use of a habit tracker. Put your the actions that you want to be consistent with, you can put them in the habit tracker, and then you can, when you get it done, you tick it. So there's something about just visualizing. Imagine if you look back at your what's the word now, like you look back at your habit tracker, or if you prefer to use Excel sheet, or but I feel like habit tracker will be better. Imagine if you look back at your habit tracker and then you realize that you see something like maybe 20% or 50%. It brings that consciousness to you that you need to do better, right? So you, like, it's in your consciousness that I've not been doing what I said I was going to do. So you're, should I say, you're encouraged to do better, as against when you're not even tracking it at all. Like, you're not tracking it at all. Imagine if you're not tracking it at all, you won't even know when you're falling short, and then you just notice that January has passed, February has passed. You're expecting things to change, but you're actually not doing the things that you need to put in place to make things change. So that's why appraisals and accountability are very, 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 very important. So we'll just do a recap of some of the things we've talked about. So number one, imagine your ideal 2025. Number two is so you would walk backwards, right, and then build a system. So after imagining your ideal 2025, determine the actions that you need to put in place to ensure that what you want to see actually happens, and then you build a system around it. Systems is just basically like building a routine around it that you can be consistent to. And then the third thing is to create a system of appraisal and accountability. So it's either you're being accountable to somebody, or you set up structures around your life for accountability, like having a weekly meeting with yourself, with your spiritual and body, and just evaluating like your week so far and seeing what you need to change, where you are falling short, and what you can improve on. So I think that's all. So here's my challenge for you. What are the 3 things that you will commit to doing daily to create the 2025 that you want to see? I want you to write them down, schedule them, and most importantly, show up for them. I think there's so much that we can achieve if we can be consistent. And sometimes consistency is not so much about the amount of time you're spending. Just showing up every single day, even if it's 15 minutes, even if it's 20 minutes, just showing up every single day for what is important to you can radically transform your life. So I want you to think about it as we're entering 2025. What are the 3 things that you feel like if you show up for this thing every single day of 2025? I'm not even talking about 1 hour, 2 hours, even if it's just 15 minutes, that if you show up for them every single day would make a difference in your year. So I trust that this video has been helpful for you, and it will help you to start to think of this saying that says new year, new me. So instead of focusing on new year, new me, you start to focus on the systems that you want to put in place in your life in this coming year. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this with somebody that you know would benefit from this. And as usual, because I always want you to be able to put whatever you hear into action, so you don't have to bother your head about, okay, so where do I start from? I've done the work for you. As a certified coach that I am, I've done the work for you. So you don't have to worry about that. So in the description, you'll find a coaching workbook that just helps you to, take this information and use it to create change in your own personal or unique circumstance. You'll find it in the description button. Okay, so I think I should say bye now. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful end of the year, or should I say happy new year in advance. Bye.